What we did last time. Screw it.
And I said in the heat of the moment, I said the worst word I could possibly think of.
It's tough. The way you did it is probably the worst way you could use that word.
Yeah.
Other than actually calling someone.
Just like to a black guy's face saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much the worst case scenario here.
And I'm not going to make any excuses to why it did, because there are no excuses for it. I'm disappointed in myself.
I know I did it twice.
It really, I wasn't like angry. I was more like disappointed. Like, damn, dog, really?
No, there's no justice like angry mob justice.
That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Europe. This is the most badass YouTube broadcast. In fact, it's so much the heart of Europe that we are both members for the first time, I think, are in Central Europe. I have right here the twat with too much time in his hand, which is actually a total lie, by the way. The twat with too much time in his hand. The Right Opinion has joined us on Shop from the Point. Thank you for being here, buddy. So we're going to get into it on the little h3h3 thing. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing just great, and I've just realized that I forgot to put. I'll make sure that I forgot to put the link to your YouTube channel, which is, by the way, is really great. It covers a lot of political issues. I wanted you on because I thought that you'd be able to challenge me just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that I know that you are a person of critical thinking, you're not. I don't know. I don't think you don't have any stake in this game, but I know.
Yeah, no. I have no real interest beyond. I like to talk about shit, basically.
Yeah, I got you. So here we are. See, the thing is, we're gonna pretty much continue from where we did yesterday. And here was my argument: if context matters, it also applies to h3h3, and it applies to PewDiePie in the Nazi joke situation where he got creamed on the Wall Street Journal. So I made a chart for all you dopes that don't seem to get that. It's called Context for Retards, the N-word chart. And I'll show you this over here, okay? And you should be able to see it. And the video just crapped out of me, so you're just going to have to look at the stream. You're out of luck.
Okay.
You're out of luck. And here's how to explain it. I even had to put not okay and okay, just to make it that simple. And I sound like a big social justice douchebag, all right? Here we go. Memes and jokes. PewDiePie in the situation with the Nazi jokes in context. H3H3 and iDubbbz in the N-word, F-word.
That is some exceptional drawing there, I have to say.
Yes, because it's for retards. I just want to. It's okay and not okay. So we have N-word, F-word. We have that's where oh fuck it, nigger faggot. And we have H3H3 talking about it, and the meme man himself, iDubbbz. That is in the same context of the Nazi jokes that PewDiePie was slammed so hard by the Wall Street Journal and completely taken out of context, and several hit pieces were done on them. All right, in a different context, right? Go to not okay. We have Keemstar that's Alex is a stupid N-word out of anger, and just a little below that because it wasn't directed at a black person. And by the way, this is for people that believe in this bullshit context matters. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying if you scream context matters with PewDiePie in April, you're going to have to apply it to H3H3 now. Then just a little below that is PewDiePie. And yes, that is the same classification as Keemstar with Alex. Just a little lower because it wasn't necessarily directed at a minority. Not okay? Okay, get it. Here's what I want you to notice. Notice that H3H3 is not in the not okay area. Notice that. He never said it out of anger. And to sit there and go on that he is a hypocrite for using the N-word the same way PewDiePie did, which he didn't, is wrong. It's inaccurate. It's deceptive. And one of the things that H3H3 pointed out today, I don't think he's putting up a good enough fight, to be honest with you. Some people are saying, as far as the news report goes, is the oldest hack trick in the book. And I actually mentioned this yesterday in my podcast. When you sit there and say, well, some people are saying, who? That's your responsibility as a reporter. Would you agree with that, at least, right opinion?
Would I agree with what? Sorry, can you repeat it? Like, just
stop. All right, I'm going to teach you something right now. Don't watch the chat.
Go on, enlighten me.
Don't watch the chat because I know what newbies do. All right. Okay. So, what the fuck was I talking about? Because now you really threw me.
No, you were talking about it, but I didn't actually get, like, I was actually listening because you were talking about the context and such, and then you went on to say
I went to the report.
But I didn't understand what you were.
I went to the reporting part. All right. You see this a lot of times. Some people are saying that the right opinion is a sexual deviant. Well, who's saying that's not good reporting? And what has he done? And what are these examples?
Yeah.
And what is the other side to that? That's what's 1, 2, 3. Anything other than that is a hit piece. Exactly what was done to PewDiePie. Exactly what was done to h3h3. That's all I'm saying is to apply it in both cases. All right. That's all I'm saying. It's the oldest trick. Some people are saying is hackery. I think we can both agree on that.
I mean, obviously, like, yes, of course, like, you pick and choose the news you report, and you pick and choose what you're going to report to get the most views. And it's a tricky one because people were implying that h3h3 was a hypocrite.
That's true.
And so to say necessarily like, oh, it's a hit piece. I mean, it's for me, like, I know Scarce, Keemstar, they're always going to like mention that part because it is in a way the juiciest part of the meat.
Well, I understand that for views, but one of the argument, what flipped out Keem is that h3h3 said that he's not a news source, that he's essentially a hack, and that's what really set Keem on fire. I think that's a proper criticism, considering he's doing underhanded stuff. The entire piece itself was the evidence that was presented, and the only evidence was presented is that h3h3 is a hypocrite. Now, and then what did he harp on? I didn't call you a hypocrite. You owe me an apology. Well, that's not true, because you did call him a hypocrite, indirectly, deliberately. And this thing, I just reported what some people were saying, never mentioning the people, never going into details, and never making any effort to present any other kind of side or context to the attacks on h3h3. So it was a hit piece. And that's exactly what was done to PewDiePie.
I mean, of course, like news, as you say, like that is going to be biased. And to be honest, like, I wasn't a particularly big fan of the whole PewDiePie situation itself either.
Oh, okay. So, all right, well, maybe give me the first PewDiePie situation.
I mean, the thing is, I think what happened was that it was with PewDiePie situation. I actually didn't have a problem with how it was reported because news sites are going to always do that. But the way they in a way used it to push their agenda was actually probably what irked me more, and especially how it led on to what was happening, like when, especially, I think probably the worst thing was when actually they posted all the stuff about ISIS, which, although true, was massively taken out of proportion.
Well, but you don't think the Keem had an agenda?
I mean, we all have an agenda. I mean, everyone's got an agenda.
But
I'll agree.
An agenda of damage. Damage. I mean, the idea behind the
I don't think like Keem. You know, I don't know Keemstar, so I can't necessarily comment on his motivations. But I don't think Keemstar was going out of his way to maliciously hurt him. He was just looking for something to spice up his news.
That's true. All right, fair enough. You disagree with that, but honestly, my opinion is subjective. I'm just basing it on what I know of him, what he has said to me privately, and things like that. But I mean,
yeah, and I don't have that. I don't have that. I got
you. You don't have that perspective. No, that's fair enough. And to be, it is an accusation for me. It's not exactly a fact. So, all right, what I want to do right now is one of the things that really shocked me, and I did not watch all of it, only some of it. And I think this is where we're going to actually butt heads. We're going to go over Wild Spartans and Alex's video, right? And let's see. Oh, maybe I can get it on now. This would be nice. I think we'll do Alex first. Maybe I can get the video on for you. There it is. You should be able to see it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, Alex. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do Wild Spartans first. I changed my mind.
I mean, that's actually like I watched that Alex video. I don't think that one's too bad.
No, this one isn't as bad. That's why I want to do the worst one first. I want to do Wild Spartans first. All right, let's start with Wild Spartans, and he
You have
goes.
people like Keemstar and Scares who are your peers, and they'll DM you. Like Keemstar DM'd me 2 days ago, and he's like, "Hey, how are you, buddy? I haven't talked to you in a while." I'm like, "I'm fine, dude." And then the next day, he's like, "H3's a hypocrite."
You know what? And this is the thing. This is what I know, and people that know Keemstar, that's his moves, and that's why I think my perspective that I can't prove that it's.
I mean, yeah, and I understand that.
This is so typical, and I understand that from a personal perspective. Hey, buddy, what are you doing? You know?
I mean, yeah, no, I get that, but I think my problem with what I mean, the actual argument, because of course we can talk about personalities and such, you know, that could be true or not, but I don't think that I don't think that idea that saying being pally with someone and then going and reporting on it, which, you know, was, I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of like he was reporting it, is funny because h3h3 is being accused of the same by a lot of, I guess, PewDiePie dependent.
Yes, true. That it's underhanded.
People saying, well, you were nice. You're meant to be like friends with him, and yet you do this. And if we want to talk about the h3h3 video like a bit later, I do think there is a case where h3h3 did present some exaggerations and half truths.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Mostly, this is about the commentary too, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that argument, and maybe you can change my mind on the whole thing. Yeah. But let's go over let's commentate on this particular video. The Wild Spartans.
I didn't watch the podcast, but this guy says he's a hypocrite, and I didn't have any
Yeah.
content today, so I'm going to post a video, and I don't really care about what it actually means. I'm news, but I don't actually look at things beyond surface value. I'm Keemstar.
But he
I
really-
make news for 12-year-olds.
Don't say the N-word.
It's
Just
not
don't
that
say
complicated.
it. Just don't say it.
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Thank you.
It's not that complicated.
And Ethan wonders why people are calling him a hypocrite.
And again, you have to ignore the context. You have to ignore the context. The context that he was saying it was the context of not what PewDiePie got in trouble for.
Yeah.
It was related to the accusation.
Yeah.
I think we can both agree with that.
I mean,
I don't know how
don't.
that is such a killer. I don't know how that is that's such a killer start.
Yeah.
Because again,
I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think I do. I mean, as I said to you before pre-stream, I do believe there are aspects that H3 could be accused of hypocrisy on, but I don't believe the fact that he used the word is one of them. I don't believe that makes him...
That's exactly the fact that he used the word, and that seems to be what they're hanging on. These are the same people that were saying context matters back in April, and that in itself is somewhat hypocritical. Now, I just want to be very clear. I like Spartans. I tipped off Spartans and Alex that I was doing this, and to go against Kavos' narrative that the only reason you could do this is for views, I generally like these two people. I'm definitely friends or acquaintances with one of them, and I said, look, I'm going to criticize your videos, but this is not a hatchet job. Right? I'm criticizing your content. So this idea that you can't criticize your friends in public without having some kind of underlying agenda.
I mean, yeah.
And sometimes it is an underlying agenda.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that later because I do think I actually do have quite a good general explanation for why people feel like it was a backstab, which I don't think backstab is the right word necessarily. I think
we'll
a
get
nice
to that part.
slash down the front is a bit more of a.
Let's stick. It sounds like you have something good, and I know you want to get to it on the hypocrite, but let's just deal with these videos first and the content that we're dealing with, and then I will give you that part. I will definitely give you that part, and we'll have that argument.
Of course, no worries.
Yo, what's up? So Ethan has responded to the criticism he's been getting. Actually, I shouldn't say responded. I should say dismissed the criticism he's been getting. Basically, he took everything he was getting for and just pushed it to the side where it doesn't exist anymore.
And we're getting to the point where censoring curse words, that pisses me off.
Oh yeah, no, I don't like censoring curse words
all right.
You know.
But I mean, he has to do it. He's making.
I mean,
I understand why
if
he's
you care
doing
about it, then so be it. But I'm not going to me personally, and I know.
I guess you want to
definitely.
I guess you want to be poor then, huh?
not going to fucking censor myself.
All right, I would say, but I understand why he's doing it. That's not even a criticism.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
fine,
I get why he's doing it.
Because H3 did nothing wrong in his eyes. Initially, I was disappointed in H3 because I was just like, he's being a hypocrite. You know, maybe he'll realize his mistakes when people talk about it and call him out. Nope, that's not the case. That is not the case. But instead, he's doubled down on his beliefs and made himself look like a bigger hypocrite with one podcast episode. And to be 100% clear, I'm fully aware H3's context of using the N-word was different from PewDiePie's.
So how is he a hypocrite? Isn't that an inherent problem in itself?
I think
If the
I
context
think
is
that's the thing.
different-
Like, I think everything he said, like, up until that point, was completely, like, apart from obviously, like, since the last time we paused it, everything, like, in between was pretty correct, because the way the H3 has behaved has literally has played into the narrative. But once again, like,
In what way? In what way is it played into the narrative? Into the
Like-
hypocrisy narrative. Not that he's an asshole narrative. That's a
Oh yeah,
different...
no. But I said, as I said earlier, that the idea that because he used a very Spartan say he used the word dismissed, and I don't think that's necessarily
No, that's
the best
true.
word.
He did dismiss it, but did he have
I
the
mean,
right
he did dismiss it, but he was trying to deflect it. I think deflect was a better word, and the way he acted on that podcast was not a way that was very reputable. And was not a way that is someone who has a good defense to make.
Okay.
And I think in a way, like, regardless of whether he's a hypocrite or not, which we both agreed that in that context he's not.
He's not. Okay.
Following that, he went on that podcast and completely, like, acted like a guilty child. I mean, it was a guilty child.
Yeah, but see,
I mean,
okay, that's fair enough. But, like, that would mean that is a subjective view of his body language, not of what he said. Could we agree on that?
I mean,
so, like,
yeah, I mean, yeah,
so, and
of
I
course,
think, you know what? And I think you're right. I think what's happening is he's not a hypocrite, not in the strictest definition of the word, but his body language has tripped the YouTube consumer community and made him angry at him. I got to be honest with you. That's not fair. If you're going to be hypocritical, you're going to have to be able to show some sort of language that makes you, and some sort of act that makes you hypocritical, other than he's acting guilty or he's behaving in a manner that is hypocritical.
Definitely. But we want to bring it back to actually, like, the whole PewDiePie situation itself. That situation for me was an issue of professionalism rather than necessarily racism. And I think this again comes back to professionalism and at the end of the day, YouTube isn't necessarily a profession, but when you do have a load of people watching you, you have to conduct yourself in a manner that you have to assume that your audience is actually going to have that respect for you to give you the benefit of the doubt in these situations.
Okay, let's continue.
H3 was saying it as a word, just a word. PewDiePie was using it as an insult. But the thing with both cases is, neither of them had racial context to it. They weren't being used as racial slurs. They were being used as
racial slurs.
In this
in
instance,
both cases, but the context was different.
Yeah,
In both
in
cases,
this instance,
I
do disagree with what he's saying here, because he's saying like, I mean, obviously it's not the same. It's not moral equivalence of doing something completely, like, racist.
Yeah.
But there is a clear one is worse than the other, and that is I think that's pretty objective.
Okay. Well,
I think
if you buy into context matters, which I don't. I got to be honest with you, I don't. I think it's a novel idea. I subscribe to it,
like,
but it's just an idea at the end of the day.
In this instance, what we're talking about here is the logic, and
that's
and so even if you don't believe in context, a lot of these people do, and so you have to judge these videos on their logic, which is why we aren't using the context matters discussion.
Oh, they're saying my donation link is dead. I was wondering about that. I wonder if it's that dude that fucking sent in that shit. Ugh. I'll have to worry about it later. No, we have a show to do. And sorry, I'll look into it later. It may have been that jerk off that sent me a bunch of false complaints, and I'll get into that later, because he admitted that he was doing it for because he was mad that you guys made fun of him in the chat. That may be why we're not getting any. You know what? It looks like Twitch Alerts is down. All right, so we'll just forget the donations today. Guys, thank you so much for donating, but let's try to get through this. Because I think The Right Opinion is doing a tremendous job here.
It's A, an insult, and B, a word. And now I'll admit the way PewDiePie used it is definitely worse, and he shouldn't have done it on stream. But my issue is H3 is making the word out to be forbidden.
Where did he do that in the podcast?
Give me a second. Let me, because I actually did take notes on this. To just try and make it slightly easier.
Where in what part of the podcast did he say it's forbidden? Because the way I understood it and the way I took it, it was in that context, it's bad news for everybody on YouTube, which I think we can both objectively say is correct based on the newspaper articles that came out afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, actually, like, I do want to save my points on his comments in that because I didn't necessarily interpret what he said the same.
Yeah.
But
because I mean, in Acabos' video, they say he used the word offended. Oh, I didn't see that he was offended. He basically was like, he goes, he even said, he's like, I wasn't offended. He even said, I wasn't offended. I was just like, fuck, man. I think that was. I was disappointed. He said he was disappointed, not offended.
I honestly don't think he was offended, but I'm kind of like I don't want to give too much away.
It's just so amazing to me that we can watch the same video and you can come up with it. And I'm not saying you personally, but that we can come up with this. I don't think that Wild Spartans is a dishonest person. I think he probably did his absolute best. I think he's a nice guy too, and I think he's occasionally funny. But it's just so funny when he says, "I wasn't offended. I was just disappointed." And this guy draws from that.
That's a different point.
It
needs to be made, but I think what we were referencing. We've gone off so much on a tangent that I've actually forgotten the original comment we were reflecting on.
The forbidden comment. Well,
the forbidden comment. No, I don't think he didn't come across like it was forbidden. He came across like I don't want to give away too much, but he came across.
You're trying to beat me.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm trying to play this like a game.
You got this big killer thing for me at the end. I'll let you say it. I promise. I promise.
No, I mean it's nothing that's going to change the game. But
okay.
I still think that there was a tonal issue in the way that H3 forbidden probably not the right word, but I do believe H3 completely missed the narrative on the whole video.
All right, we'll get to that later. Let's continue to fuck with Alex or Spartans.
And then he responds and says the word more when in the last podcast he basically was knocking PewDiePie for saying the word publicly.
That's not true. And I can 100% prove that right now, and I'll play the clip from that particular podcast because I have it loaded, and it was the key to my podcast yesterday. That is 100%.
I don't know about this. So
not
please.
True.
I mean, I know this is a point a lot of people say, but it certainly seems like that's not the first time he's used that word in that context.
In that context.
And which podcast was that? Was that the one?
That was the first one. That was the one that got him the initial heat in the report.
Oh, I don't remember hearing that. Maybe
that's what he did. This is and I wrote this in my podcast. That's why you should have listened to my podcast, you jerk. But,
no, I did actually listen to that one, but I assumed that it was in the second one because I just didn't remember
the first one. This was the first one. This is what drew the heat, and then what drew the friggin' nuclear bomb was his behavior in the second. And this is what he said. He made this very clear. I know this is a
point a lot of people say, but it certainly seems like that's not the first time he's used that word in that context.
So he has a problem with the word being used in that context. With actually, you at very least can agree that's inappropriate, and I can agree in the sense that it's gonna get you in trouble.
I mean, as I say, like, a case of professionalism for me, it's just not something that I would ever like consider necessarily really using on stream. But as I say, like, I don't really hold it against him.
I don't hold it against him either. I don't think anybody's bigoted in this situation.
I don't think anyone shouldn't. Honestly,
I think the idea that you're calling h3h, or some are calling, I would say, to be specific, a lot of the people in my YouTube comments, that he's going all social justice warrior now and making the word forbidden, making the word forbidden is, firstly, objectively not true. And the fact that he made the argument, it's because he said it publicly, that's what the issue that he has in PewDiePie. That's the episode, or this is what Wild Spartan says. Wild Spartans claims that h3h3 is a hypocrite because he accused PewDiePie of saying this word publicly. And that makes him a hypocrite because h3h3 has said it too. That is not what he said. What he said is he had a problem with context.
But I'm sorry. I
just
don't
hold on to it. Jesus Christ, you might win this. Don't worry. I promise.
I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to win this, but I don't know what to say right now that's going to necessarily like provide like good discourse.
But you want to get to it really bad. You're like a kid in a candy store.
I honestly, I really want to lay in to H3's podcast, but the points you're making right now are completely relevant and fairly reasonable.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I didn't think we were gonna like fight. I thought we were gonna have like a little difference of opinion. But here we go.
Okay.
I do not recall him explicitly saying you can say the N-word, just not in derogatory context. I do not recall that. The only thing I recall is him saying the way he used it was awful, and it reflects poorly on all of us, and you just shouldn't say it on stream and video.
No, this is what he said that you missed.
I mean, I know this is a point a lot of people say, but it certainly seems like that's not the first time he's used that word in that context.
Now, he's not denying that he hasn't used the word. He hasn't denied any such thing. All he's saying is that it's damaging for PewDiePie, for the rest of us as a whole. It wasn't just for him in that context, and this is where he absolutely missed the mark.
And you know what H3 does? He says it A, on video, and B, on stream. This is just fantastic. Okay, so interrupting the complete...
So now he just strawmanned him. That's strawman fallacy.
Yeah.
That's
slow the video for a second. I just want to say, if you're new, hit this button. I'm trying to hit 100K by the end of the year, so any help towards that, massively appreciated.
Oh, well, I hope you get 100K, but now I feel bad because I do like... I hope you get 100K. It sucks. This sucks, man. I do love the kid, you know?
I mean, you know, he's a nice guy, like, especially in like conversation. Like, I love to have,
you know why I like him? Because Kirsch told me stories about him when they were at VidCon, and he's like a really funny, quirky kid. And I just, that part, because I really want him to hit 100,000. But all right, let's keep going.
Thank you. Papa Bless. Back on topic. So to say the least, I'm extremely disappointed in H3H3.
No, H3H3's disappointed in fucking PewDiePie.
For not understanding why he's being called a hypocrite.
He understands completely. He thinks, and that's why he has deflected or doubled down that the criticism is incorrect. And you have proven without a shadow of doubt the criticism is incorrect.
Just
in this case. We don't know about what the right opinion's gonna do.
Dismissing everything as if he's completely right, he did nothing wrong, and that is just disappointing.
I gotta be honest with you. At least in this case, you didn't prove it.
Because, really, you did something wrong, H3. You called out PewDiePie for saying the N-word, saying it was a horrific word. The tone in which you said it was a bad word made you sound shocked, extremely disappointed. It made you seem like you were completely against the N-word, and no one should ever say it.
Yeah, but you missed it. You missed it completely.
No. Obviously, implications. You know, I don't like things that necessarily like seem obviously like, and obviously there are differences between something that you can imply, but I didn't feel like there was a massive implication on the idea of censorship coming from H3's video.
Gotcha. No, there wasn't.
I still fucking hate his video. I think I absolutely loathe it. Like, honestly,
we'll get to that because we got one more video to do. You're gonna go nuts.
I'll roll the clip so you can get context to it.
I don't know. When I first saw that, I was pretty shocked. I'm like, dude, come on, man. This kind of shit really.
Yeah, and then he edited it too. Come on, man, is not exactly a harsh criticism. It's more like, dude, you fucked up. It's not you're a piece of shit. It's not it's not you're a bad person and you can't use it in that context, which is exactly pretty much for the most part. And I'm paraphrasing the narrative that Spartans is selling.
I mean, it's funny really because the comments that are currently like being played, like especially in this video, to criticize H3 are probably like the ones that I don't take too much issue with. Like I think like, you know, passive annoyance was something that a lot of people felt when
I did. I felt that way too. I was like, fuck, dude, don't do that. We just bailed you out. You know, we just took a big bump for you. Why is that an unreasonable thing? Why does that make me a treacherous traitor? Dude,
yeah, I mean,
that. And here's the best part. All the points that he brought up, and that's what was in the beginning of this video, which I forgot to delete anyway. The beginning, all the points that he brought, all the criticisms he made are the same criticisms that PewDiePie made of himself. So why is him just sort of reiterating PewDiePie's only apology? In PewDiePie's criticism of himself, somehow make him a bad person.
We'll get to those because once again, the phrases, the quotes being omitted right now from H3H3 are probably, like, in my opinion, much worse. These ones that are being played, I don't find.
I get this feeling from you. You got him on something, and you can't wait to get there. But we'll get there, I promise.
Reflects poorly on all of us.
Like he said, there's no excuse.
Yeah, we saw this. I want to get back to
I mean, he was drunk on stream, but he did double down with actions on Twitter earlier today, so God, H3, you're digging yourself a grave at this point. So H3 in the podcast called out specifically Keemstar and Scarce for calling him a hypocrite, which isn't actually true, as funny as it is.
No, it's not literally true. He didn't use the word. I don't know about Scarce. I can't speak out for Scarce because Scarce offered a like if you want to make a comment on it, and which h3h3 made the mistake. He should have made a comment on it. Keemstar did call him a hypocrite with his content, not with his words.
But we've had this.
All right,
we've had this disagreement. We know where we stand.
All right, let's go to Alex.
No, I believe it's just reporting.
Let's go to Alex. It's just bad reporting. All right. Well, I mean, does h3h3 have a right to be a little, teed off about bad reporting?
I mean, but that's the thing, though. Like as PewDiePie would expect to be reported in the news when he does something that could be interpreted against him, H3 has to accept the same thing.
Yeah, but we didn't accept that as a community. When
he has to accept.
We didn't accept that from the Wall Street Journal.
You are always under scrutiny, and therefore I do not blame the people reporting it.
We didn't accept that from the Wall Street Journal. Why should we expect it from Keemstar?
I mean, that's just my personal values. I obviously
you just think they're shit and no good, and it's just.
I think they're shit and no good, but I think they can report whatever the fuck they want.
Oh, I'm not saying they can't, but they should be held accountable for not holding up journalistic principles. Would you agree with that?
I mean, held accountable for journalistic principles. I mean, but it's a very vague term. Like,
no, you're right. Because if there was this is where you got me. You won this argument. Because if there was a list of journalistic principles, it would be the smallest book in the world. There is no journalistic principles. Good point. You beat me in this argument, and this is my issue with the media all along. But I think you can be criticized for fucking it up or pulling the old some people are saying. I think h3h3 we got mad for PewDiePie when it was done to him. We're mad at H3 for falling for the fucking trap that the Wall Street Journal said. And Keemstar just repeated the same behavior as the Wall Street Journal.
But that's the thing though. Like we've had you were comparing it to that old PewDiePie situation. I could compare it to the new PewDiePie situation where people were annoyed at PewDiePie for necessarily saying the word. And in a way, what Keemstar did wasn't necessarily anything particularly new or bad or even bad. I don't think what Keem's like that's Keemstar reports. He always reported like that. He always reported with a polarizing take.
Yeah, but that's true. But this is also the same. I mean, that also makes him a hypocrite because this was his big issue. He was the leader of the pack to defend PewDiePie back in April.
So I get that.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's all about just my personal philosophy, personal accountability. I remember when there was a situation a few months ago when a YouTuber, bless him, had his house robbed, and there was this massive fundraiser to basically make up all the damages and losses. And I actually didn't like that at all because I felt like he should be responsible in essence for not getting house insurance. In a way, with h3h3, although I don't think he's necessarily a hypocrite in the terms that we've discussed, I think that he should have been better prepared for the criticism that he was going to get and then not respond in such an embarrassing fashion.
Sure, okay. I think we both agree on that. Whatever you said, 100%. But isn't that a criticism of public relations and not hypocrisy?
I mean, definitely.
Okay.
But as we said, in that instance, I do not believe H3 is a hypocrite.
Yeah. Okay. In that sense. Okay. So we are reiterating. Let's just do Alex, and we'll take some calls, or then we'll get to your thing.
Hello everyone, I'm Alex, and welcome back to
And by the way, Alex, and I'm going to give Alex a little thing. Alex is traveling around the States or something right now. Oh no, he's in Central Europe right now. I don't know if he wants me to say where he is. Maybe he said on that. I don't know. All right. Alex is kind of running around. He's not be able to do real edited content. Maybe he had to rush this. I'll give him a break on it. All right.
Yeah.
Another video. Today's video, I just wanted to do a very quick response to the h3h3 situation.
h3h3.
Which is going on right now. It's arguably one of the biggest topics right now being talked about. A lot of controversy. A lot of people not very happy. A lot of people very confused. So I
always want to pull his hair for some reason. I don't know why. I just want to walk up to him and take the side of the hair that goes and just pull it. I don't know why. I just do. Is that a strange thing? Should I see a doctor?
I mean, I have to say, I don't get the same inclinations with his hair, though it does look very nice texture.
I want to ruin it. That's what I'm going to do to him when I meet him. And I probably will meet him one day, right? I'm just going to walk up to him and shake his hand and I'm gonna like slap him on the back like a fucking like real hard like a giant. I know he'll be really uncomfortable with it. I'm gonna say, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? How you doing? Let me give you a noogie." He's gonna fuck up his hair, like and treat him like I'm his fucking annoying uncle. That's what I'm gonna do. But going on,
I wanted to make a response and an update on some of the stuff that has happened recently to do with that situation. First of all, I did call h3h3 a hypocrite, but not because he said the M-word, because that would be insane. That would also be ridiculous, because I also have said the words before with context, and a lot of people got very hung up on that, the whole context matters thing, which I agreed with Ethan on.
I think you saw my tweets
In the video. I literally said, I watched the podcast, I agreed with what he said, but what I didn't agree with was the fact that he said that PewDiePie uses it freely, as if he's just randomly throwing this word at people.
That's not what he said. I think everybody.
I mean, no,
I'm starting to realize everybody watched the second podcast. They didn't know.
I mean, I know this is a point a lot of people say, but it certainly seems like that's not the first time he's used that word in that context.
So he only has a problem in that context.
One of the things that he does actually say in that podcast, in the first one, is that PewDiePie seems rather comfortable, which, you know, comfortably, freely. I mean, they're not directly synonymous, but I understand what he's saying there.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, okay. So what am I missing in fair? Because I really like Alex a lot. You know, so what am I missing here? Maybe I'd miss something.
I mean, in the first H3 podcast, one of H3's criticisms of PewDiePie, well, not necessarily criticism, but one of his comments was, you know, he seemed very comfortable using the word, and that and
in that context, he was in the nigger faggot. When I'm talking about the IDub situation, there's no way to deal with it other than saying nigger faggot. All right.
Yeah.
And then he was kind of loosely.
I understand that.
That's
and
not
I think,
the same context as what PewDiePie did. Okay.
I'm Alex's usage of the hypocrisy, and this is how I understand it, is that basically what he's saying is that H3 will critiqued PewDiePie in his podcast for being comfortable with the word, which was the word. It was comfortable.
Yeah, he did use a comfortable word, but in that context.
And I think what he's saying is that in essence, harkening back to the iDubbbz podcast, one of comments was, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was also about. I wonder if I have it here. I thought I might have it here, but he uses it. He says, "Oh, you know, I'm really like I'm happy, like you say the word like, and then, you know, nigger, faggot, etc." And he says it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that really feels good." And so it's like, I think someone else said it, like taking pleasure in it. And so I think the idea.
But I think that was a joke itself. He was actually making fun of iDubbbz because he seems to say it so freely and get away with it.
But then iDubbbz like responds, like he says, "Oh, you're using it a bit liberally."
Yeah, because the way I took that was you're making fun of me. You're making fun of me.
But that's the thing. If we want to like reflect on body language and gestures, like it's a very subjective, ambiguous moment.
No, you're absolutely right. No, I have to agree with you there.
And I can completely understand why, in a way, someone would see that as the drawing line for that moment of hypocrisy.
No, I agree with you there. It's just that I don't like the guy never said it's forbidden.
Oh no,
the guy never said that.
Forbidden, like, we're on the same page there.
It's very frustrating. Let's keep going on with Alex because he did do a little better job. I actually think he did a better job than Carlos. Shit.
With Ethan on in the video, I literally said I watched the podcast, I agreed with what he said, but what I didn't agree with was the fact that he said that PewDiePie uses it freely, as if he's just randomly throwing this word at people. Because I don't believe he is. I did watch the entire podcast.
Again, that's not what he said.
Watch the podcast first before so-and-so, so-and-so. I also watched the entirety of the iDubbbz h3h3 podcast. So, I'm pretty clued up. I felt like Ethan's approach was very much from a place of selfishness, and that was just a personal opinion. Even in my video, I did talk about how it affected myself, but it seemed like most of Ethan's problems came from that, more than the actual issue of him saying the word.
That's, you know, and actually Alex is 100% correct there.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's your argument, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's not everything. It's not everything, but it was definitely one of the points. The fact that there was this veneer of of like, you know, moral sanctity that he had like when commenting on it, but you could hear the undertone of annoyance, like, and we all know what H3's like with his ad revenue. He does care about it. Like,
Sure.
there's no doubt
I
that,
do
like,
too. Is that okay?
I mean, no, and it's completely fine. But what I think a lot of people didn't like was this moral positioning that was
No.
kind of facading what H3 really felt. I think people felt that was also like a core root of dishonesty coming from his side, especially
we can
when
also,
trying to,
I
like,
think we can both agree that that is subjective as well, and we're basing this on bias for the same argument that you.
Oh
made
yeah,
before.
no, it's all interpretation.
Yeah, so, you know
but
what the funny thing is? You know what I'm learning right now? If this is a teachable moment, that's something the SJWs say. That body language is almost more important than what you say.
yeah.
Because, I mean, I've always taken it like, look, I've always taken things, you can only judge what people say. Because people have different kind of body language and what have you. And you only can judge what you can physically write down and record. Body language itself is subjective, 100% subjective. So, I mean, in that particular case, both Wild, Spartans, and Alex have based this criticism, this criticism based on his behavior, and maybe even didn't listen to what he said in the first podcast, or didn't hear it the way I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some, like, with regards to like the whole attitude of H3, it's the sort of demeanor that I got as well, and I felt it was a bit.
You felt it too.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
felt
feel it. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it was a bit slimy, I think, and we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay. Actually, we'll get to it right now because all right, what did you take away from the H3 podcast that does make you lead you to believe that he is a hypocrite?
I mean, we've spoken about like the comfortable point, which I thought was actually, like, despite being like almost like a buzzword moment, it was still an interesting thing. I think that certain exaggerations in place really kind of, and this is I think we should get to the backstab bit, because I think that's an interesting argument, because you don't really see that one, but like I mean, backstab is like something that I always consider like going around behind someone's back. Like, I consider this like a nice stern slash through the front. But I think that the backstab was basically what people are saying is the way H3 treated PewDiePie on that podcast was a bit mean-spirited, given his supposed companionship with him. And I think like exaggerations and half-truths, like calling it a worst-case scenario, which is a quote.
No, that's true.
I mean, it's completely.
And that in itself is subjective too, because I mean, this may be generational, and he's closer to my age. That's not a tongue lashing.
He directly contradicts himself a few minutes later by saying, "Well, he's not going like lighting like Christian." But it's not a worst case scenario at all. And I think exaggerations like that really got under people's skin, because it felt like he was pandering. And I think if we bring it back to that, I think it was disingenuous. And I feel that, as I say, like being friends with someone shouldn't absolve you from making a video criticizing them. I think we agree very clearly 100%. On that one.
And we did it in this episode just for this reason. That's why I needed Spartans, and thank you guys so much. That's why I needed Spartans, and not that we're the tightest friends in the world, but I generally like these guys. I follow them on Twitter, and I watch their videos.
But like, I think there was another really good point that I did have, and I think it was one of the key issues that did reflect a lot of people's annoyance, and I think it was this one. You know, there was a lot, and this is an opinion that I just disagree with H3 on. H3 carried on like presenting, like towards the end, I think it was towards like 20-minute mark, presented PewDiePie as this face of YouTube, and bring it back to the context matters argument. One aspect of context for me that shouldn't in essence matter, though it does, is a channel's relative size, and PewDiePie's sub count is irrelevant on his censorship. Like, that is his own personal prerogative. And then he goes and says that PewDiePie owes it to them, and because they stuck their necks out to defend him.
That's not.
And-
Is that an inaccurate statement?
Is it an inaccurate statement? Were they sticking their necks out to defend PewDiePie specifically?
Yes, I think we did. I think did we? Well, I mean, Keem went on the charge a lot. I mean, I saw it on a lot of channels. Jacksepticeye was slapped down for something similar.
That's the thing. Like I think H3 is giving himself too much credit at that point. Like when he says he's sticking an axe out to defend PewDiePie, like he was like, PewDiePie, we need to rescue him, because at the end of the day, the whole of YouTube felt like it was in jeopardy at that point.
It's true. And by the way, we walked away with a big bump. It's called,
and it wasn't by no means was even getting better when this situation transpired. Sure. But the fact is that he was speaking like he had really stuck his neck out, like he'd really done a service to YouTube, and
you think that just pissed people off?
PewDiePie went and fucked up. But this is the thing that he seems to have forgotten. It was him who posted that misguided it was a hit piece basically on Wall Street Journal that basically sent everyone back a few feet for at least like a couple of weeks on the topic. I mean, we all thought like, oh wow, H3's really pulled a banger out this time, and then he didn't realize. Then he realized, oh wait, I fucked up. I better pull it out. In my opinion, especially when you make a misguided attack, it's a lot worse than in a way a problematic defense. And
do you really saw that as an attack, though?
When H3 posted
and if you
his
did,
video,
it's okay. I mean, we could agree to disagree. I'm not putting you in a spot.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not like disagreeing. Yeah. But H3 put out the video on the Wall Street Journal list, and basically accused him of falsifying articles. And that is, I mean, he said like, I'm not I mean, if we want to bring it back to the implication argument, he wasn't necessarily saying he was, but wink wink. And when H3 posted that in effect, in a way, that was more damaging than a lot of what had happened prior, because it wasn't true. And basically because anyone can run a narrative against you. But what is more telling is the narrative you run against yourself. And when he posted that article, or not article, but video saying basically this guy, he's making up basically ad things. I think that was, I mean, especially when it was revealed to be basically, not backed up properly, it was a lot more damaging to the whole discussion we were trying to have than anything PewDiePie did prior.
But those things, does that make him a hypocrite on the N-word? Those criticisms.
Oh no, not on the N-word. Okay. No, not at all. Like. Right. But I think in a way, I think that everyone is simplifying arguments. But there is a clear case that H3 took a very sanctimonious attitude on his podcast that many people feel that he was not in a position to take. And I think the people like going after, as you say, I think they are simplifying. I think they're wrong on that. But I do think there are a lot of issues with what H3 said, and especially with regards to that whole backstab point. I don't think it's a backstab. But I do think it was a particularly, especially like some of the phrases he used, it was particularly mean-spirited, given the fact that in a way PewDiePie doesn't owe him anything at all.
Well, yeah, that's true. No, that's a good point, because when you do something good and try to help people out, you do it out of the good nature of the house. Now you don't do it because you're going to get a favor down the road, and that's a good point. And I did say on my last podcast, I don't think he's handling it well. But it's just, and we have debunked. I think we've completely debunked the idea that he's some kind of a hypocrite. But it does, and I even opened up the show. The blowback against him is twofold. One of them is the hypocrite narrative, and the other is the way he carries himself. And I think you proved this without a shadow of a doubt. And the other thing, I think it might be cultural on my part. I did not, and you disagree, and I'm not going to sit there and tell you how to think, right, or how to feel, because that's what I would have to do to win this argument. I just, if that is harsh, the language, you're a pussy. That's me, and you feel somewhat differently. And more people feel like you than they do me. So maybe I'm just an old fart that it just comes from a different world. That's what I'm just starting to wonder if I'm just like, dude, you're from a different planet.
I mean, obviously, it is a case of like what he's saying is necessarily harsh, but there are words. There is
But you really have to read into it and buy into a certain, like, this is the way he feels. We both can't see into his heart. I can only take his words at face value. You're doing more than that. You're taking his words and his body language and his intent that we can't even read for sure. We can only accuse him of intent. You know?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, this is a conjecture. Of course, no disagreement there at all.
Okay.
But
I think
it's unfortunately the way his attitude, the way his tone, people are going to judge that.
No, they are. No, you're right. And this is where I lose because it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter that I think it's what I think. More people are taking away what you're presenting. I just think they're wrong. And,
I understand.
I'm definitely in the minority on this one. It's just crazy.
I don't think like I don't want to sound condescending at all, but I don't think just because your opinion's a minority makes it necessarily wrong.
I know it doesn't. But trust me, I know it doesn't. But it's. Do
you
understand?
Relations,
but you understand from my perspective that we know like how this context matters thing is being selectively enforced or applied to depending on who the YouTuber is, and I find that really concerning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I agree on that one. It's just, in a way, I'm always judging people. Like, unfortunately, that's one of the
I don't
ways
think
I behave.
Think you're wrong. See, here's the thing. This is what I was talking about before. Like, it's all okay or it's not okay. Well, that's really a nice thought, but it doesn't work in practice. It doesn't. It just simply doesn't work in practice.
I mean,
so I think what's going on
is a completely different thing.
I'm not living in reality land in the sense that people judge more on the basis of emotion, and I just don't. I'm different, and that's what makes my opinion the minority. Opinion.
Yeah, of course. It's just,
and I do think this, and this is something that hasn't been brought up too much. I do believe that some of this has been building for years. That h3h3 has always put himself on a bit of a pedestal and always been very judgmental.
Oh, definitely.
And I think this is
H3 doing this is much.
This is just the pin that pulled. I just don't think it's fair. I think you need a much worse situation than, dude, man.
I think you did touch on a really important point there. You know? I think you did touch on a really important point there, which was the point about emotions.
Yeah.
And you say, you don't necessarily operate on emotions, which is fine.
Well, no, I don't say I don't. I don't say I don't, but when I try to pull them away, and I don't think anybody's doing that.
I think the issue is the way that H3 interacts is, in a way, reflective of how people are currently interacting with him. And I think that's another issue that you have to take into consideration, because H3 does operate on a lot of emotions, and therefore, when he in a way, in essence, acts out a character, it's even more identifiable.
It's the priest that gets caught with the girl.
Exactly. It's even more disagreeable, annoying for his fans. That have clearly disagreed with him on this.
Let's try to take some quick calls real quick because we're just about to end.
Yeah, of course. No issue.
Automotive tomfoolery. You're on the air. What do you got?
How's it going?
What do you got? One thing, because I only got like 3 minutes left.
All right. So if Keemstar was bringing up something past, like hypocritical or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Say that a little clearer because I'm not getting you. Say it again.
Straight. But he's basing the same boat.
So I'm sorry, I didn't get the call, buddy. You sound like you're on a phone. You're all broken up. Try to call back some other time and try to go on a hard line. Wow, I was really polite, wasn't I? Gentleman Wolfpig, we only got like 5 minutes left. 3 to 5 minutes left. So hit me up. He's not even ready. This is so typical. This is my life. It's pathetic. No wonder I'm not. It is like no wonder I'm not connected. I can't. I'm definitely a soci. I can't deal with anybody. And I want to crack. I'm a very emotional person. I just want to make sure this. When you're debating, I was always taught that you're supposed to deal in.
You do deal with pragmatism
but that's
and
not
logic.
what's happening here, and I think Keem's kind of using that wave.
When H3 is using exaggerations and borderline ad hominems, like referencing PewDiePie's age, people are going to call him out on it, considering that he's not really the sort of person to do that,
Yeah.
and he's the sort of person to criticize others in the past for doing that.
No, I think you're that is one thing that you're 100% right on. We really don't disagree. That's the thing. We don't disagree on anything. You just feel differently than I do. That's it. Dull and Dark, you're on. What do you want? You gonna chicken out, you pussy? Yeah, you pussy. That better not have been the real Dull and Dark. Berthold, you're on the air. Oh, fucking don't blow this. Fucking unbelievable. You know what they do is they set up and then they go get a coffee and they have a cigarette.
Oh, well, that's no good. That's their loss.
You gotta stay. I know it sucks and you might not get picked, but you gotta stand by. Otherwise, I'm just gonna start hanging up here. Drop it in Tyler. We continue to make agreeable content. What did Billy the Fridge say? We continue to make agreeable content. How come he doesn't have a check mark, Billy the Fridge? That's ridiculous. Don Vespucci, you're on the air.
Right, Tommy Seaman, how you doing?
Are you from Italy?
Nah, I'm not.
Okay, I just wondering. Go ahead.
Right, I've got a question for the Right Opinion. Hello, the Right Opinion.
Hello, Don Vespucci.
So, real question here, real talk, the metaphor messiah. Why you call it the Right Opinion? Why not the left one?
Oh god, I knew this was gonna come.
Here's a $5 donation for Glitchpo. I guess Streamlabs is back right back up. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's good then. That's
You're
good.
You're gonna ask this extremely stupid question.
I mean, yes, I shall give my opinion. Obviously, isn't actually to do with my political ideology. It's more to do with the ironic subjugation of the subjection of opinion.
Get out of here, Don Vespucci. How dare you show, you fucking prick. That's one of your dopey friends, isn't it?
I know him.
I can tell. I can tell. Well, I think we should end it right here. And I am, it's a different kind of show. And I think it was really, really great. I think you did a fantastic job. I think it was a pretty good debate. Obviously, we're not that far apart, so it wasn't like we're screaming and yelling at each other. But I just kind of learned something. I learned that I'm a fucking robot and I feel nothing. And I fear for the world. That's what I do. And because I don't really believe you said anything wrong. And I don't believe that Wild Spartans and Alex did anything malicious. I do believe Keemstar did. I mean, I obviously.
But
you know what? That's a feeling too. It's a judgment call.
But
you know
obviously, it's all
I'll tell you something.
inclinations.
We'll leave it at this. I have better judgment than all of you. How about that?
I'm the Right Opinion.
Oh, what is this bullshit? The twat would have too much time. You're one of the busiest fuckers I know. You know, I've tried to contact you before. I was like, oh, I'm at school now. Got to get to you later. The only reason I got in touch with you today is because I hunted you down and actually remembered 2 hours later.
It was done because at the time I was basically did have a lot of free time. That's why I started the channel. Basically, I didn't have anything better to do. And now I don't have so much free time, but I have to keep it because it's a little slogan that is popular.
Yeah, you can't keep it. Oh, the twat with too much time. Just completely not true. You're exposed, by the way. Everybody, I really want you to go in the description box below. I just did put it down. If you started off with the stream from the very beginning, please refresh it. I want you to sub The Right Opinion, especially if you're interested in politics and things of that nature. He is on the left, I'm on the right, and I always enjoy his videos. I always think they're very thoughtful and as fair as possible. And he's a real young guy, real smart dude, and I think very, very, very much underrated. You know, there's always going to be a lot of, because of his voice, there's always going to be a lot of comparisons to Clown, but think of Clown on politics, you know. And you do a very good job of making it simple to understand for neophytes, which I think is a real talent, by the way. That is not a criticism. So please, please go sub The Right Opinion. We're going to have him on again, especially if we get in a debate scenario. And because me and Jeff agree on everything. It's a legitimate criticism, but we do because we're like dumb jocks. You know, it's just we do. All right, it's just never ever going to be any different. It's always going to be like that. Where's the goddamn music, for Christ's sake? All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank The Right Opinion. Thank everybody that showed up. Oh shit! No. I forgot something. This is the first time I ever did that. I am not broadcasting tomorrow. Me and Andy Warski finally got a date and time. It's going to run in, it's actually going to run into Shot from the Point, right? But I will be on Andy Warski's streaming channel tomorrow, and we're going to be debating this and other things. Warski's on kind of the Red Opinion side, And I was like, dude, you got to put me on. This is the time to put me on because I'm like the only dissenting opinion out there on this particular issue. And he's like doing it. So we'll be back on. Shot from the Point will come back. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? Or Wednesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Wednesday. And not only that, Friday, Love Phones with the very beautiful German Captain Kirsch. And we'll be right back. Thank you so much, Right Opinion again. We'll see you guys again soon. Listen to Real Talk, the Metaphor Messiah. This is his song and his new video, Ball. The link is in the description box below. We're doing it different now, I promise you. Different shows all the time. Peace.
This is the almighty infinite, independent excellence. Devil fighting, rebel titan, weed smoking alchemist. Fake identities, okay, you cool with Jason Bourne. Running with these Wolverines, okay, you about to catch a storm. I ain't never been a liar, got tired of niggas playing me. Head in my legs like she about to catch a pedigree. Chi-Town, the King's home, slapping fives, black stones.
Can I get some likes?
Bullets look like waffle cones. Affiliated to evolution.
I would have had 100 likes if I actually said it.
Don't make me lead them eagles to you like I'm Chip Kelly. They feel my struggle, I express it through my hip hop. I'm about to make it hard to breathe.
I need to go to the Derv School of YouTubing because then I'll do a